What is up, chicken nuggets? Dr. Tyler Tarver here to a sports content a dope podcast. Don't know why I started like this, but now we're here. This is a little different. I'm gonna do a little different. If you guys like this, I'm gonna continue this series. And if you hate it, well, just please don't cuss. Please don't cuss at me. That's all I've ever wanted. So that's actually how I start whenever I go to like card shows and I'm about to pitch like a price that's a little bit lower. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna throw you a number and it's awful. And if you want to curse at me, you can. Level 1, maybe level 2. But I just want you to know I'm okay with that because I've earned it. And it's always like kind of like not disarming, but it alleviates some of that tension of making deals at card shows. But you don't have to try it, but I do. So this one is going to be a little different because I want to rank the kindness of Sacramento Kings basketball players based on how nice they were to me when I asked for their autograph. Okay, so I have half season tickets to the Memphis Grizzlies. So we're in the lower bowl. We get there, and usually if we can, unless something goes crazy, we try to get there. I have 2 tickets, so I'll take like usually one of my kids. I took my wife to this one. I took to the Sacramento Kings. The only one she's been to was at the Kings, and I tried to take my dad to one the other day after I got done with the speaking engagement. But your boy had the flu, and I felt pretty terrible, so we gave him away to my brother-in-law. I don't know why I sang that. I'm apologizing. Please block me. I've earned it. Okay, so at these games, we try to get there early. We try to get autographs, and it's because, I'm a collector, and it always means more. And I did the 4 tiers of collectibles. And you guys, in that, I said, tier 2 is when you bring something to an event, and they take time to come up and sign it when they don't have to. They're paid to be there to play the game, but they're not paid to come sign your little trinkets, come sign your little cars, your little basketball, your little jersey. They don't have to do that. Okay. It's always really nice. And, my seats are over there on the visitor side. So there's only one time we've gone to the Grizzlies side to try to get autographs. Shout out Jaren Jackson Jr., goated. And so most of the time we're over there with the visiting team and they're walking by and, we get there early enough to try to get a good spot and we'll, hold out things for them to sign. And if you guys ever want, I could do like a tips for this. If that's something y'all care about. Oh my gosh. I just threw my seat down. Oh my God. It was like an elevator drop. What are we in, the House of Horrors? What's that haunted house thing at Disney? The haunted hotel? I don't know. Whatever. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. Anyways, so I have ranked, and I thought I could split it up per team, per game, and just kind of rank how the interactions went with those players. And again, these players have a lot going on. They're about to play games. Turns out their head coach was about to get fired like a week or 2 later. I literally, during the game, talked to my wife and kind of explaining stuff to her. She don't follow any of this stuff. So I'm talking about the players. Like, oh, that's De'Aaron Fox. He's the best player on the team. Like Sabonis, he's really great. He doesn't get a lot of love, but he's consistently great every night at the games. And then I saw Mike Brown over there, and that's Mike Brown. He used to, be on the Warriors coaching staff, and he's phenomenal coach, and literally got fired like a week or 2 later. And then they turned their season around. So I think they ended up losing against the Grizzlies that night. Grizzlies were on one. And so they won. I think, was that the one where Ja got kicked out? I don't know. Doesn't matter. So they're all running together. I got so many games. Not really. It's only like 7 or 8 games so far. But with this one, I thought I'd give a breakdown because we got there early when it opened. So they open around an hour and a half early. And it's only supposed to open an hour before the game. But you're supposed to, if you're MVP, which is what the Grizzlies call their season ticket holders, you can get in 30 minutes before that. But really, they just open it up to everybody. And then you have to have like a ticket to get in. You have to have, seat tickets to the lower bowl to be able to walk into the lower bowl, usually, unless you just kind of like act like you're on the phone and walk past them. And so mine are thankfully in the lower bowl. The very back, like I am in the nosebleeds. I'm in the same seat I sat when I watched NSYNC at War Memorial in high school. I am in the very last seats. I could look over the back and be like, I'm going to spit in the parking lot. That's how far back my seats are. In the lower bowl, though. So that means I can, walk down there. And so we walked down there, standing over there, and I decided for this, I thought it'd be fun to rank them in order from least favorite to favorite interaction. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. They could have stuff going on. They would be thinking about the games, thinking about getting traded. There's a lot that goes on, I'm sure, in NBA players' heads whenever they're doing this stuff. But in my one interaction with these humans that I've ever had, this is how I rank it. And easily, last place is Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter, he's, shoots threes and stuff. I don't know what else he does. I just know that I went to game day in Little Rock, card shop, love game day. and I was looking through their stuff for cards. You know, it's like, oh, I'd love for them to sign cards. At this point, I never had a player at one of these games sign a card. And you're like, well, do you collect cards? I do, but I'm always afraid, like holding a card over there. Like these dudes sign like thousands of cards every year. I'm like, they got to be sick of that. And plus, me being like a, I don't know what middle age counts as, but like almost a 40-year-old, scrubby looking white dude. I'm like, hey man, will you sign my card? And I don't want to feel like they think that I'm going to sell it. So I always try to bring stuff that, like, I don't know, makes it seem like it's more personal, I guess. And so I went to game day and I bought some, players cards, and I'd found there was like a Kevin Herter Genesis. It wasn't a rookie, but it was a Genesis. It's a beautiful mosaic card. I was like, dude, this would be sick to get them to autograph. And I had like a purple marker. I was like, this will look dope. And right there at the beginning, there was only like me, and then there was some guys on the other side, and they usually have like a book of like cards that they get people to sign. These actually, I don't think these dudes were the normal dudes that get stuff signed. These were different guys, but they were over on the other side, and I was, on the closer side. They actually have to walk a little bit closer to me, and so I'm sitting there, and like we were the only three. Like there was three of us, two dudes with like notebooks with cards, and then me just standing there. And Kevin Herter gets done. He's done warming up. He was the first one to come through. And, usually I go with my kids, and I think, those dudes are obviously more receptive to kids because they're like, well, kids don't have eBay accounts. They're not going to sell it. My kids, like, they don't, Finn will keep his stuff. Titus usually doesn't care. I'm like, do you want to keep that or you want me to keep it? And he's like, you can, I don't care. He just likes to go for the experience on the road trip. And so, and Ezra, she doesn't care. Like, literally, Ezra, she did the Golden State game with me, and she got this ball. I'd bought this, like, I say expensive. For me, it was like an $80 basketball because I love the Warriors. And I was going to get as many to sign as I could. And she was getting people to sign it. So afterwards, I was like, Ezra, you've earned it. You can pick out anything you want. She picked out like a $100-something jacket from the Grizzly store. It actually looks super dope. But so I paid off my kids for getting stuff signed. But I'm not selling it. I'm going to keep that thing, and then I'll give it to my kids when I die. So, sorry, this is way too long to talk about Kevin Herter, who is, again, last place. And you can guess what happened based on him being in last place. And he gets done. He walks by. The first two dudes just didn't even look at him, and they're holding up their books, and he just walks by. And I'm standing there, and I'm holding my little Genesis card. And Herter just walked by. I was like, oh, okay. And he just like left. I was like, all right, well, cool. Well, Kevin Herter's too busy. This is not a good sign. Now, I will say this. I'm about to give you the 6 more people that I had interactions with on the Sacramento Kings. And these, I've ranked them. This next one is second to last. That doesn't mean he was last. He was legit, like, all the people I'm about to name rank in the tier of thank you so much. Tier 2, you were awesome. Because the rest of these people stopped, gave me a little bit of their time, and signed something. So next I'm going to put Doug McDermott. Doug McDermott, okay? So you're like, well, 2 white guys. Yeah, I know. And Doug was the next one to walk through, and I'm like, oh, please don't. And he stopped, signed all, like, those book dudes had like 5 of, each of their cards, and they signed all of them. Oh, that's a good sign. Like, if they sign theirs, usually it's a great sign because of all the people that are holding stuff out, you would assume the people that have 5 of your rookie cards taped to a notebook, getting you to sign all 5, they're not keeping all 5. I got 4 kids who are all fans of yours, and I'm going to keep one. Most of the time, you can assume they're probably going to sell some of those. And so if they sign those, it's usually a good sign. And so he signs it, walks over, and is like, hey, Mr. McDermott, would you sign my ball? And I'll show you this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If not, you can't. It's the ball. It's from a company called Local Hoops. I really like their designs and stuff. And so I thought to myself, when I've been going to these games, you can have cards, but then you never know. Like, there's 15 players on a team. You never know who's going to walk through, and then you're sliding through cards. It's just easier to have a basketball that they can sign. So it doesn't matter who comes through and gives you time. You're not like walking up there wasting your time bringing an item of a player you might not see. And so, like, I have jerseys of certain players, like, bigger name players. I'm like, ooh, it'd be dope to get this signed. But then maybe they sign early or they just run by. Like, I learned this lesson when I bought the LaMelo Ball. I bought his Dexter's Lab Puma shoes, and I was like, this will be dope. It was like the first game we were going to all year. I was like, we're going to get there early. We're going to get it signed. And we're standing there, and Finn was actually holding the shoes. And the plan was I would keep one and Finn could keep one. And LaMelo just ran on past. Didn't even look at us, and he didn't even play in the game. It was a preseason game. He didn't even play, and he was just over there playing on his phone forever, and then just ran past all of us. So thanks, LaMelo, and I learned my lesson. So I just breathe this basketball, and I get them all to sign it, and I actually labeled it Hoopers Volume 1. And so once I get it full, I'll start a volume 2. But Doug McDermott was the first player to sign this, super kind, and signed it. So no complaints. I was like, "You're the first one to sign my Hooper." I was like, "Thanks, man." And he was like, "Okay." He was nice, but he didn't care. Okay. Next up, this would be Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder, you might remember Jay Crowder. He was on the Cavs with LeBron for a while. I think he played for the Suns, and now he is on the Kings. I think he played for the Bucks as well. I don't know if he was on the team that won it or the team that made a run. But Jay Crowder, he comes up and, he'd been working out. I don't think he played in the game, but he had done a full workout. So he was like, sweating, but he took the time to come over. I was like, "Mr. Crowder, would you sign this?" He was like, "Sure." And he signed, I called him Mr. Crowder. I said, "Would you sign this, please?" He's like, "Sure." He goes and he starts signing the Hoopers Volume 1 ball. And he goes, and I was like, "Thank you, Mr. Crowder." And he like looked at me. No. This is what happened. I go, "Thanks, Jay, would you sign this?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "I'm sorry, Mr. Crowder." And he like kind of looked at me and like, dude, they like shook his head like, "You don't have to call me Mr. Crowder." But I was like, it's polite. I think it's fun because they probably don't hear that very often. And for me, it feels more polite. This person's giving you their time saying that. Next up, DeMar DeRozan. DeMar, I say it. DeMar, I like it. That's the opposite of what Drake said in that one video. So DeMar DeRozan was super, super cool. He seems like a more quiet, reserved dude, like you can tell. And, I think that's the kind of the persona he has when you're seeing him talking to the media. But he was super kind, signed for everybody, went down the whole line. By this time, people had started showing up. And like I'm standing there, and this kid, he had come up, and he was standing next to me, and it was his birthday. It said it was his birthday. And he was just like, they went over, and DeMar was signing for those dudes with all the books. And the kid was like, "Come sign for the kids, not those dudes." And I was like, "Bro, if he's signing for them," I turned to the kid, I was like, "Bro, if he's signing for them, he's going to come sign for us. Like, he's not going to sign them and run past you." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool." I was like, "You don't have to they're not going to trade off. Like, if they're going to sign those dudes' books, that's a great sign. They're coming over here." And they came over, DeMar came over, signed it, boom, signed the ball. He had a Hooper's ball. I didn't have his jersey. I wish I had. But I gave away his jersey once on a Whatnot stream. But yeah, he signed the ball and moved on. Really quick signature, by the way. Then next up would be, we got Domantas Sabonis. Okay, so he's third place overall. So Domantas Sabonis comes over there, and I get him to sign the Hooper's ball. And I just said, "Thank you, Mr. Sabonis." He's like, "Yeah." He's super cool. And then he walks over to that kid, and that kid goes, "Hey, can I have your warm-up shirt?" And he goes, and Sabonis kind of like laughed. He's like, "No, I'm not allowed to give it away." But he said it with his accent. But he was really cool. Second place is Arkansas native Malik Monk. And I was trying to think, I need to say something about being from Arkansas. I know it's a big state. There's a lot of people there, but we all got a little bit of ties to where we're from. And so Malik comes over there, and it's cool because there's a couple that they have floor seats, and they're really kind. We used to live in the same neighborhood, and they get a lot of stuff signed. And so they've been doing this for a while, so they know what they're doing. And he saw me, like we've talked before, and he saw me standing up there, and we chatted for a second. The dad did, and Malik was over there signing for the people at courtside. And a lot of times they'll sign the first couple on courtside, and then they'll run past everybody. And so I could see the dude was trying to talk to Malik, like, "Hey man," and he's trying to tell him to go sign my stuff, which Malik just ended up signing for everybody. So once he bounced over and signed for those dudes with all their cards, just stacks of rookies, signing all those, I was like, "Yeah, he's coming over here." So he came over, and he comes over, and I was like, "Arkansas." And he's like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "All right, let's go." So it wasn't anything big, but we had a little connection. So that's me and Malik Monk. That's our interaction we've had as humans. And now first place and the best interaction. And honestly, everybody signed this. Everybody I mentioned that signed something signed the Hoopers Volume 1 ball. And I've had a few different teams sign that now. This one, he's been a player I've really liked since he came in the league. And it's not like I've been collecting a bunch of his stuff. I had some of his stuff for a while, but I just, I had to start picking and choosing. And, Jordan Poole. I had to win with Jordan Poole. So, but this player, I really liked him coming in. And one of the things that I really liked about him was whenever he got drafted, I went and checked him out on Instagram, and his Instagram profile was him, but as a Super Saiyan. So if you've ever watched or collected Dragon Ball Z stuff, that was something I was really into in high school and first to college. And so he was really into it, and I was like, "That's dope. That's a connection we have." And so I went on and prepared for this game and bought a Funko Pop of a Dragon Ball Z character. And so before I did that, I wanted to find out, does he have a favorite character? So I actually did some searching and found an interview where he said his favorite character was a character named Vegeta. If you know Vegeta, he started out as a bad guy. Spoiler alert. He's been around since the 90s, so spoiler alert. But then he becomes a good guy, father of Trunks, friend of Goku, and ultimate Prince of Saiyans, if you will. And so I ordered a Vegeta Funko Pop, and had it there. And Funko Pop's always weird to carry in because of the box. You don't want to get messed up. And so, but I did it, brought it in. I had my marker, which people ask all the time what markers I use. Again, if I ever do a breakdown, I'll kind of list it in there. I have to look. I bought it on Amazon. There's a certain like paint art marker that is really recommended, and it looks really good. If you're watching the YouTube, you can see it. But this Vegeta, I asked Darren Fox, I was like, hey man, would you sign this? He's like, yeah, sure. And he comes over and he's signing it. And I was just like, Vegeta is your favorite character, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, let's go. And he's like, let's go. And so then he moved on to the next one. But after that, I went and bought his, the blue laser of his Optic rookie. And I got that put on the side of it. So we got that, and he signed the Vegeta. I thought that was a really cool piece because it's a connection point that we have, it's something we like. And I don't know. I thought that was something different. And I need to start thinking outside the box more often on stuff like this. Because right now I'm kind of in the jersey phase where it's like, I don't have anything signed by people in person. So it's like I buy jerseys of like the top 1 or 2 players, and I bring those to the game, and I'm like, hey, plus if you're wearing one of their jerseys, I feel like they're more inclined to like come over and talk to you. Like players are more inclined to want to sign stuff if it has their name on it. Like there's kids at these games all the time. They'll be on the visitor side and they'll have like a Ja Morant jersey, and they're asking like a Toronto's Raptors player, "We saw my Ja jersey," and they're like, "Sure." Like they know you didn't come for them. So I just like to have jerseys of the players. And then, I think, but the problem with that is like, I only have so much, we're in a rent house right now, but I only have so much space on the walls to put jerseys. They just take up a lot of room. And so, and I've already got like a stack of them where they're like Steph's on my stack because I don't have room to put a Steph Curry jersey up. And then that one's probably my favorite over there. But then Jaren Jackson Jr. signed like the legit cool, like Vancouver Grizzlies throwback jersey for me. And so that one I want to put in a frame for sure. And then the rest I got to figure out, but it's mostly my favorite players over there, like Iverson, Shaq. And so I need to go and figure out what that looks like when we build our house. Like, where can those go? But at some point, I'm going to run out of room for jerseys. They just take up too much space. Even if we have like a workout room or something, I'll put them in there. But you're going to run out of space for jerseys. So I think, honestly, because I used to be like really into shoes before I got into cards. And so I'm thinking I might start leaning into doing shoes. What are your thoughts if you're on YouTube or if you're on Spotify? Let me know in the comments. Like, what would you want to get signed? If you were going to get stuff signed and you were going to get multiple players to sign it, would you want Funko Pops? Do you like would you go for their bobbleheads? Do you want to do jerseys? I want basketballs. So basketballs would be dope. And I have a Giannis signed full basketball on its own. I don't have a Jordan Poole. That's next time I go to a Jordan Poole game, I'm taking I've got like an art basketball. I'm going to get him to sign. He's going to be the only one to sign it. I got Steph who signed my Warriors ball. But that takes up less room. So you could fit probably, kind of looking at my jersey, you could probably fit like 6 to 8 basketballs on your wall in the space of one jersey. And so even if you did individual players signing basketballs, that would be pretty sick. That's why I really like the idea of this Hooper's Volume 1 ball. Like I've got, tons of players. DeMar DeRozan on here. I've got, who else? Santi Aldama's on it from the Grizzlies. I've got RJ Barrett on it. I've got all those players I just named. I like that because I'm getting them all on here. I just got to keep better records of who all signed it. And that way I'm thinking about doing like a small card book and setting it next to it and like rookie cards of all the players that signed. I thought that'd be kind of sick. So if you got any good ideas, throw it at me. Would you go basketballs, Funko Pops, jerseys, or shoes? I think I might start leaning into shoes, especially if they have signature shoes. I think that's going to be the move. I bought a Jordan Poole. He had a deal, some signature shoes with Nike. It was their GT Cut 3s, and they're yellow. And so I think he's actually done more, but they haven't released them. But I bought a pair of those. I have not worn them because I'm going to try to catch another game before the end of the year. I'm afraid this summer he's going to get traded to like a bigger team. And then it's just going to be, I'm not going to get a chance to get anything autographed because, crowds. I just think that dude is still on the up and up. So there you go. Wow, this ended up being a lot longer than I thought. What are your thoughts? I'd love to know your experiences. If you have any personal cool autograph experiences, I want to start reading those on here, like reading some of y'all's stuff. Go to sportscardsaredope.com, and at the bottom, I've got a spot where you can submit questions if you'd rather me answer questions. If you want to do, tell me your story, throw that on there. I'd love to read stories on there, answer questions, anything. So toss that on there, sportscardsaredope.com or tarvercards.com if you don't want to type all that. And, throw it scroll on the bottom. Tell me what you think. So do you like this episode? I'm thinking about doing more breakdowns like this. I started with this one because my wife, don't do that, is a joke, on a joke. But my wife, she came with me. I'd like to do the rest of the games because I want to do the breakdowns of each time and what the interactions were like. but I might do it with my kids because my kids were there with me. And so I'd love to get their thoughts. I thought that'd be kind of cool. I have not had a co-host yet on any of these. So I thought it'd be great to start with my kids because they're easy to access and they're pretty cheap labor because I pay for everything in their entire life. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching, if you're watching. And most of all, let's be good, have fun, and never stop collecting. Tyler, Sports Cards are dope. Out. Later.